This is one of my favorite places to be, just laying here. And so give yourself a couple of good breaths just to kind of let the spine readjust to this awesome, comforting place. I love how this feels because it actually helps to push on all those different acupressure points all along this whole posterior part of our body. And so here as we're breathing nice and deep into the ribs, into the belly, into the lungs, we're only helping to kind of massage all those different acupressure points out. So body's so relaxed, so receptive. It's like this excitement at everything that is to come. And so you know me, we always like to start with a little intention. So the intention that I was thinking of for today's class in particular is helping us to stretch the whole posterior section of our body. So think of drawing a line all the way from the toes, tracing on the bottom part of the feet, up the calves, up the thighs, all the way up the spine, all the way to the back side of the neck. And imagine that line that you just traced, it's like a string. And imagine if one part of it, you pinched that string so it's super tight. So imagine it's like that's your hamstring just going tighter and tighter and tighter. So the string is not able to be quite as free. It's pulling on the whole rest of it. And imagine that string shortening there. It makes everything on that whole posterior section tight. And so what we're going to do to help our body today is to work on that whole posterior section, working on the muscles and working on some of those deeper fascia areas so that that whole back half of our body just feels a little bit better. It's like the string can be in its good flexible spot rather than just constantly being tightened and tightened and tightened like a guitar string or something. And so that's the idea that will help lead us into class. And so with that little image to lead us on, let's take some nice initial stretches for our body. So first things first, let's allow arms to go all the way to that back wall. And then shoulders can go all the way right. And then all the way to the left. So this is like we're wiggling that string left and right. So take it a couple of times. It's like a really good way to make sure the vertebrae are willing to start moving with us. Beautiful. So then we can go right back through the center. Let's take some leg stretches. So let's start with right knee coming into the chest. Hug your hands around that knee. And sometimes as I'm here, it's more about the hip flexor, trying to pull that in nice and tight. Other times it's about the ankle, trying to just roll that foot out, loosen up some tightness that might be in the foot area. Good. And so then when we start to straighten the leg up toward the sky, hands can be on the back side of the leg, wherever it is, thigh, calf, foot. And notice on the hamstring itself, if you try to get the leg really straight, what you're feeling is the attachment or the insertion point right behind the knee and right up at the hip. And so what I want you to do right now is bend enough that you're not quite in the insertion point, you're more in the body of the muscle. So we're helping give that part a couple of good breaths, starting to stretch that part out. That part is less willing to stretch. And so when we can help that part first and then get to the insertion point, that's a way to get really deep through the whole thing. Good, so from here to help those insertions out, let's give it 3 good pulses so the knee specifically bends. And then we're going to straighten up until you feel first through the body of the hamstring and then all the way to those insertion points. And let it bend. Let's take 2 more like that. Straighten through the body, straighten through the insertion, and bend. And then this last time, stay as straight and as long as the flight can get. Take 2 or 3 good breaths. Good, and then think of pigeon pose, this right foot is hooking to the back left edge of the fabric. It's hooking all the way where the fabric is kind of by the ear. So, yep, get swivel it over, hook it on that back end. And then once you've got that ankle hooked, your arm goes around the calf to continue to pull the shin in toward the chest. So it's like we're laying on our back doing a pigeon pose. So give that right hip a couple of good breaths. Lots of patience, lots of time to open. One more good inhale. Exhale, when you release the foot, give the leg a chance to stretch really high up to the sky again, and then drop this leg all the way down. Second knee into the chest. Maybe some ankle rolls, or maybe just hug so tightly. When leg starts to go upward, we're first working into the body of the hamstring. So don't get quite so straight as you start to feel the insertion yet. We're helping the rest of the hamstring out. A couple of good breaths, keep it flowing. And let's take those 3 pulses. So purposely bending, and then straighten through the body, straighten through the insertion, and bend. Straightening slowly, number 2. And bend. Last one, work it straight, and then hold. Nice inhale. Exhale, hook the heel all the way over on that back right part, past where the ear is. Once you've hooked the heel all the way over, slide the shin in, allow that hip to open. Nice inhale. Exhale. Free out the leg. Bit of stretch, and then drop it right down next to the first one. When legs are inside the fabric again, grab onto the fabric with the hands to help us sit up. From sitting up, we're going to start taking the thumbs onto the back end of the fabric, pushing the fabric to about the back side of the pant line. Lean halfway back to lock the fabric in place there, and then re-grip on with the hands. And then from here, start sliding the fabric through your hands to head into as deep of a back bend as you want to take right now. So some people go so far back that they want to release hands, even clasp hands behind your back, so that you have permission if you like that, or you don't have to go quite so far. Just 2 more breaths if you're doing okay. Good. If you want to stay here longer, that's okay. Whenever you're ready, grab back onto the fabric. Just help your spine lift, and then arms go through toward the toes. This is a nice counter stretch going toward the other direction. So it's like we helped all that whole string on the back half of the body have an arch. And now that whole area is ready to just relax all the way forward. Notice the knees can be a little bent. That's almost honestly a little bit easier in the fabric because the hips are the heaviest point. But if you'd like to try to straighten the knees, that would get you to a different kind of depth. So just play with it, with how much the spine wants, how much the hamstrings want. To be extra kind to your body, extra aware. Maybe the hip goes a little bit right and a little bit left, just ease into the tightness. One more nice inhale. And exhale, let's start to get the feet off the front. Fabrics back at the knees. Good. Let's take our first inversion from here. So your thumbs get onto the back end of the fabric again. Fabric onto the back side of the pant line. And then we lean back to lock it in place. Once we're there, hands are gripping on for safety. Last step, legs go wide so you don't fall out. Lean all the way backwards and then wrap your ankles. Good. As soon as your ankles are wrapped, you're safe to let go of hands and just let your spine hang heavy. Yep. If it's not quite comfortable enough where it's resting, you can always come out to readjust where it falls. And here I'll talk about my rule with inversions. The rule is you're welcome to be in the inversions as long as it feels good for your body. So different people have different tolerances. So if you're one that, you can already start to feel, I'm not sure how much longer I can be here. Just at any point that you're ready, come on out. If you want to hang longer, I'm happy to give you some time. There's a couple whose heads are a little closer to the ground. So once we're up and out of the fabric, if you want me to readjust to go a little bit higher, I'm always happy to do that. Or if you wanted me to now, we could come out and then back. It's up to you. Yeah, if you want to come out, it's up to you. Okay. Yeah, it's up to you. You'll have to come out though. Okay. I can't do it while you're hanging. So you need to grab on by your thighs and then just unwind the legs. I know sometimes it's not, so these are all fresh knots by the way. So the fresh knots are ones that tighten a lot. Just want to be good. I don't know if you want yours too or if you're okay. Good. Okay. Thanks. So every single thing that we get in, we go back. When your neck starts to get like that, it's like I'm not getting quite as much out of it. Yeah. But it's like these are so nice because the whole spine gets that chance just to, get long. The vertebrae get space. And a lot of people can't do things like headstand because it crunches through the neck. And so this is such a nice addition to be able to add all the benefits of the inversion without so much crunching going on. Keep your feet off the front. Got it. This is one, yeah, go ahead and actually have your feet forward. Awesome. Oh, you're just adjusting where you were at. That's it. Wide breath. Occasionally there's fun things people like to do with their arms. Like you could walk your arms, put them on the floor and then just walk them back. And then just drop into that huge spinal stretch. So that's nice for shoulders, nice for spine, if you like it. Other people will kind of put one hand at the top of the mat, one hand at the back of the mat to take a nice twist. So there's all sorts of variations you can play with. Just kind of have fun with it. Listen to your body. down by your inner thigh. Oh. I was like, there's actually is a different variation where you do that, but I don't think you know that one yet. But what you'll do is grab up by your inner thigh. So you're going above your feet.
Yes.
Grab by inner thigh instead. So drop back down for a moment. And then inner thigh. Yep. Just grab right there and then unwind the legs. Yep. Not quite that. You're going a little high.
I just got to read this.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I know.
Yep. That's the spot. That's the spot. Yep.
It's just like, well, it's so well.
Oh, yeah. You can always readjust a little bit higher. Yep.
Starting to slide up.
Yeah. Some of us have bigger bums than you.
Oh, not going there with you. So is it this?
Wrap, yep, wide, and then you got it.
Inside.
Just like that. You got it. Yep.
So that's better.
Yeah, already your hip is good. Sometimes there's variations here too, like crunches too. So if you wanted to get a workout in, you're welcome to do crunches. So you can just hang. Yep, just like that. You feel like Rocky. Like, I'm doing this, I'm training. Awesome. When you are ready to be out, you're welcome to just hook the elbows, just let the spine round forward. This is essentially like a child's pose. Hip stretch for your back. Just give it a couple of breaths because this helps our blood pressure regulate so that we're, our head is not feeling so lightheaded or whatever. Give it a couple of breaths, just nice and easy. Don't worry, I'll give you more inversions so that want to play with them. A little twist. So we're going to bunch up the fabric toward the front door side of the room. When you've got a grip onto that side, you're going to release your right arm to that back wall. So it'll be actually the opposite of one. Good. And sometimes this helps to open up the shoulder, the pecs, all those goodies. If you want something different, another option would be circling the hand around the backside of the head and just continuing to spiral this way. Whatever feels better, we'll take about 2 or 3 more breaths on this side. Good, release. Bunch up the fabric toward back door. And the arm that goes to that back wall opens up or circles around your head. One more inhale. Nice exhale. Good, release. Now grab back onto the side of the fabric that will put you to the center of the room. So it'll face us toward the inner part. Lock your arms straight. Lift up one of your hips. So the hip that just got lifted, that leg swings up and over. So go ahead and face to this side just so you're in the center of the room. That'll help you see what I'm doing.
Oh.
Yeah. So you'll copy me and they'll do the opposite. Awesome. Okay, you get the straddle. Go ahead and get your heels into each side. Nice and long. Try to engage your core to sit as tall as you can. And then use your arm strength to press the legs out wide. from here, we're going to come up actually to stand inside of the fabric. So what I want us to do is make sure the toes are all the way inside. That'll help us out so we don't feel like we have to readjust the feet later. So toes inside. And then once you've got the fabric set up, you're gonna bend the knees, even getting the knees outside of the fabric. So it's like you're in like a little squat prep type of a thing. The knees outside, so that'll make sure we don't get our head stuck later. And then you're reaching up to the fabric in front of you as high as you can reach. I know, sometimes it takes a minute, okay, just take it. And then once you're in this little kind of squat prep, go into popping the knees out. So it's like we're balancing like a plie position. Good, head is free at this point. Good, last thing, grip up even higher, and then stand all the way up. Awesome. We're gonna take a split to the mirror. So the shoulder that's the mirror, that shoulder needs to come all the way around to the back side. Yep, so it's in front right now. And just bring it to the back, you got it. So this will be the easier version of splits. Your shoulder, your armpit kind of capturing the fabric, and then you let one leg go forward, one leg backward. There might be one or two who want to go deeper. So only if this isn't deep enough for you, you'll come back up and then readjust to grip on the inside. So there you can go a bit more. Good, so see how I'm still kind of gripping up high?
Oh.
Yeah, you got it. Good. Whenever you're satisfied with your split, drop onto the back knee. Good. The front knee bends. So it's a pigeon pose prep. And then front leg forward, back leg backward. I usually like to free out the shoulder that's closer to those front toes. So bring out that shoulder, it's like a little seat belt across my chest. And then I personally like to just move forward. But you could keep more of a back bend, but there's all sorts of options. And let's take 2 or 3 more good deep breaths. Head out, rock your weight onto the front hip, and then swivel the legs back open. We're back at that wide figure V shape, a big star pressing open. Press to reset here. And we'll start to prepare to come back up to stand. So slide the feet in closer, make sure toes are inside. And then when the knees are free of the fabric, grip on, come to that little squat prep spot like a plie. Make sure the head is free, otherwise you'll kind of capture your head when you stand up. Good, last step, grip up even higher, come up to stand. Awesome. This one will be that splits toward back wall, so the shoulder that's toward that wall needs to come around and behind. And then front leg forward, back leg back. And if that's not enough, you can take both hands to grip on the inside instead, nice and high. Or low, that's fine too. If you go higher, you can kind of hold yourself up. Good. Good, so you choose how long you're satisfied in the splits. Whenever you're ready to drop it out, come onto the back knee. Good. So we're there, pigeon pose, front knee bends. And send the front hip forward as the back leg goes back. Maybe on the inside of the shoulder. Good. sometimes the shoulder that's closer to those front toes will come out, like a little seatbelt. Nice inhale. Exhale. Rock on your front hip. Swing your legs out wide. Just a couple more breaths. And then go ahead and slide each foot out. We're back at the knees. Good. And we're going to go into kind of like a taco fold. So bring one hand like a stop sign and just push into the fabric in front of your face. Once that's there, a second, grab onto your other foot with your free hand and place it where that stop sign hand is. And you got one foot up, the other foot just has to join next to the first one. I know it's kind of funky to get there the first time, it's okay. But whenever you have 2 feet in front of you, you can allow the legs to straighten out as much as they will. A little hint, heels pushing into it makes it a little easier for that whole posterior section of the body. Trying to release our muscular effort makes it deeper and deeper and deeper. Okay. So you can either stay in this spot with the hamstrings, or you can start to head more to cobbler's pose. That would be knees bending out wide, feet coming in just however close you want. Another deep inhale, exhale, and when we free out our feet, free them to the mirror side, that will face us all forward again. Awesome. And we'll go into vampire. So the handful that are comfortable with vampire, feel free to go on into it. Those that it's new to you, yeah, you can always hop out and hop back in if it's rocking too much. I know, isn't that kind of awesome? Yeah, it will. Yeah, that's probably true. So if you need a little refresher for vampire, the way that we get into it is it's like a shoulder stand inside the fabric. So you take the back end of the fabric, and it has to completely cap sleeve all the way over your shoulder, because that's what your weight is going to be on. That's what's going to hold you up. I don't like to have too much excess on my neck though, because then it kind of pushes into my neck. So it's kind of just enough to completely cover shoulder, but not too much more. And then I like to use my elbows like a chicken wing to kind of push all the excess down into my waist, so that once it's there, I'll lay back and I should have a little bit of extra fabric in my waist now. Good. So keep that perfect amount of fabric over the shoulders, step your feet into the other end, and then at the same time that you lift your hips up, you can straighten your legs out. That should take all that extra fabric down to your feet. So if you still have excess by your waist, just do it again, step your feet in, extend them out. Good. Hands take a grip onto the back end of the fabric, gather a little bit of fabric with it, and then your feet can lift up. Inside or outside the fabric doesn't matter too much, but the little notch after your heel, that pushes directly into the fabric you just bunched up with your hands. So push out into the fabric And then you can engage the core to lift all the way upside down. You got it. As straight as you can get your spine, and that's a pull down. I love it because it's a massage at the same time that it's a nice inversion. So same rule with all my inversions. Stay as long as it still feels comfortable. At any point sooner or later when you want to come out, you don't have to feel like you're in a competition with anybody. Just come on out when you're ready. We're about that point, about half of our class is out. So those that are still in, feel free to take a couple more good deep breaths, maybe 4 or 5 more breaths, and come out when you feel ready sooner or later. When you feel ready, we'll eventually come to that nice floating child's pose, just that restful place for a moment to check in with our body, check in with our system, make sure everything is kind of like going through our checks, make sure all our lights are good. You're welcome to stay here in this recovery moment for a bit longer if your body needs it. Sooner or later, when you're like, okay, I think I'm safe to be standing again, don't feel rushed into it. When you get there, go ahead and grab on, lift your hips right up and out. Good. Let's take a couple of bonus stretches standing here. So grab onto the fabric in front of you. Let's bend at the waist. Our upper body goes forward, hips go backward. And you can play around, with whatever feels good here. Some people do cat-cow, standing up and down. Some people sway left and right. Nice and slow is what I like to do that way. So just listen to your spine, listen to that back half of your body. We're trying to help it out, whatever it needs. Two more breaths, whatever feels good. And then bending the knees, we'll roll our way up. From here, take our right ankle inside the fabric. Once it's there, you've kind of got two options to play with. You can either slide hands down, getting the heart close to the thigh, or you can slide the hands up and take a split. So it's whatever feels like your body wants to be right now. Good. Head your weight backwards. Left hand grabs onto right side or pushes on right side. That one's the harder balance. And then right arm opens up to that back wall, a nice spine twist. Good. Return. Grab both hands just onto the left side. And then turn the bottom toes, those standing toes, over to the left. Once we're there, it's almost like triangle pose. Slide the right hand down, the left hand up. Maybe sink the weight forward like a side splits. Weight comes over standing leg. Just keep the right hand gripping on. As you start to rotate your hip around, bending that knee, you're gonna turn your body to the back wall, so facing away from you. Still catch it at the ankle. There you go. So if you're too far away from the plumb line, hop back a little bit. And then just an easy grip over each shoulder. Start to lean your weight backwards, and this should get you into that right quad. So you're leaning your hips and your shoulders, everything just backwards into the fabric. Just nice and relaxed. Lean back until you feel that quad stretch. Yeah, yep, just like that. Okay. Weight back over standing leg. Dancer's pose, hands close to the shoulders, but then you engage the elbows, pointing the elbows to the back wall. From there, lean forward and kick the foot into the fabric to create that really good lift. Good. Rising back up. Find your balance without hands. Trying to drop the hands to the floor. From here, walk the hands backwards, two straight legs, going into the splits. Okay. And then hands walk all the way to that far end of the mat. Step the foot that's on the ground into the fabric for a plank. From the plank, you could bring knees in, straighten out. Take that a couple of times, a little bit of straightening. Good. The moment you're ready to drop down, that left thigh goes into pigeon pose and just lower to elbow. Beautiful. Start to Back up onto hands. Foot in the fabric, drop it to the floor. Nice downward facing dog. Could be a good recovery, or you can use elbows instead. Nice ease through the legs. Lock the feet to the hands. Forward fold. Take a nice inhale. Exhale. All right. Beautiful. Turn around, face the fabric. Second side, left foot in. Two options, heart drops down or hands up, splits forward. More breaths. When we're ready to head back, right hand grabs on left side or pushes, the other arm open. Beautiful. Return the standing toes, start to turn to the right. Gripping on just to the right side, slide the left hand down, right hand up. This opening could be perfect for your body, or maybe sink more weight forward. See if you can grab the top hand up also. Yeah, that'll give you something to kind of hold on to. Good, nice inhale. Exhale, come back, turn to the back wall, grab over each shoulder, sometimes a little hop back. Once you're there, just lean backwards into the fabric, giving that nice quad stretch. That left knee just points down, it helps to stretch it out. Beautiful. Weight over standing leg. Dancer's pose, grab close to the shoulders, elbows squeeze to the back wall. Lean forward, kick the foot up. That's really what creates the big lift. Kicking foot into the back. Good, a nice inhale. Exhale, return. Find balance without hands. Hands drop all the way down to the floor. Once you're there, both legs try to straighten out, and then just walk your hands backwards into the space. Good. When we walk our hands all the way up to that far end, both feet can step into the fabric again. Maybe same option, knees in and out. Or maybe this time, hike the hips over shoulders and flatten back out. So again, you choose how much the core can handle. When it's ready to be down, it's right side into pigeon. Huge inhale. Exhale. Hands plant. Foot out of the fabric, child pose or down dog. We walk our feet toward our hands. Let's clasp our hands together and take the pinky fingers to the base of the skull to help the whole skull and everything just curl in. So everything from the back side of the legs up through the back side of the neck is all stretching. Inhale. Exhale, release hands. Inhale, roll up. Take it as easy as you can. Good. And we've got time for one more inversion together. So take the fabric around the back, like a backpack over your shoulders. This will feel super similar to the first inversion that we did. So fabric is across the sacrum. We're not sitting on it. It's not cleared by the pant line this time. It's a little bit lower on sacrum. From there, 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. And then we bend our knees to lean back into the fabric. That will start getting the fabric right on that spot where we want it to be. So as long as it didn't slide on anywhere, tiptoe until you're under plumb line again. And then simultaneously kind of knees wide and wrap the feet. As soon as you've got that, you're safe to drop down into the inversion. So this will be the last thing we do together. We're already close to that end of class. So what we'll do is just enjoy the inversion as long as you enjoy it. So some of us 1 minute, some of us 5 minutes. And whenever you're satisfied, you'll head to your Shavasana, but don't feel any rush. It's just when you are ready for it. Yeah, that's okay. Your head needs some time to sit back. Yeah. One, 4, or 1. Just kind of lay back for a moment, give your head a chance. It's just up to you. Stay here for a while, or then you can go to Shavasana. That looks like today, inside or on. Usually go ahead and take every step that you did, so that way you know the fabric will be distributed well. So it's laid out in about 5 grips or so. And then when you come under plumb line, then you can head on in. Here we'll take the next couple of minutes to gradually head our bodies out. The first I think to start with is just nice good inhales and exhales. Little movements returning to fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. Perhaps stretching arms all the way to the back wall, shoulders wiggling left and right. Sometimes it's nice to take a little fetal position, so you'll keep the body long, but you'll roll onto one hip, so one hip is stacked on top of the other hip. So from that long body on your side, you can curl in like a tight little ball, and then arc the spine back. It's almost the idea of cat-cow, just whole spine back and forth. So if you're doing this one, I usually do this maybe 2 or 3 times on one side, and then I'll flip around 2 or 3 times on the other side, just helping to balance out my spine. Eventually, when your body's pretty happy, you're welcome to head back to the middle. Start to work your feet off the front. Hands can help us to sit up. With hands at the heart, we take just a moment to imagine that line on our whole posterior section. And just imagine how this line is. It's like if it's a rubber band, is everything being stretched tight, or is everything much more just loose and limber, willing to work with us? And so with that idea of just helping our body, help us feel more connected, help us balance left, right, forward, backward, all that. With this idea to help lead us on, let's wrap up the time we shared together with the sound of Om. Deep in hum. We be filled with light, happiness, and peace. Namaste.